Welcome to Yoga for Triathletes, Level 1 Hip Openers. From your seated position, move forward to a tabletop. Shoulders stacked above wrists, hips directly above your knees. Tucking the toes, leading with the hips back up to the sky, we'll find our first downward facing dog, pedaling out this first one. So with each breath, you can bring a bend to one knee as the heel of the opposite leg reaches towards the ground, though it may never get there. Just warming up the backs of the legs there. Ultimately, we'll bend both knees, pushing the hips up a little bit higher, straightening those legs, heels reaching towards the ground as we lift out of our shoulders, and then stepping that left foot forward, big step up between our hands. We're going to stretch into our right hip flexor here. So option 1, hands on the ground. Option 2, hands coming up to your left knee or thigh. So as you sink into that right hip flex, you may notice that your right heel had fallen a little bit out to the right side. We're going to bring that back in, rotating it all the way to the inside, over to your left. And work that back and forth just a little bit, nice and slowly. See if you find a sticking point. And if you find a sticking point, hang out there for a little bit. That little movement will completely change the feel in that right hip flexor. Hands release back down to the ground. If they were up, right toes tuck, strong back leg as we lift the left foot up and push back to downward facing dog. Once again, pedaling it out a little bit before stepping. Big step forward with the right foot, left knee, top of that left foot release to the ground. And once again, working into the hip flexor, this time on your left side. Hands on the ground or up on that knee, and if you've noticed that left heel splaying out to the left, again, we'll rotate it back and forth a little bit, trying to hit some different angles of that left hip flexor. And if your hands were lifted, they can once again reach back towards the ground, back toes tuck, back legs strong, creating the space to lift that right foot up and back, pedaling out from a down dog once again. Get the blood moving, and then we'll actually step the left foot forward. Not a big step this time, so you can short step this a little bit. It's okay if your knee moves forward past the ankle. Hands move to the inside, and we're going to allow that right leg to open up as far as is comfortable to the right, maybe even coming to the knife edge of that right foot, getting into that inner thigh as our body moves 45 degrees out to the left. So find your comfortable edge here. No need to push this or any pose today, just wherever you're feeling a gentle but comfortable inner thigh stretch on the right side. You can use the yoga block for support if you need it, or otherwise, if you want to deepen it, you can move all the way down to forearms on the left side. And we'll make one adjustment here, coming back up to hands, toes tucking back. What we're going to do is shift our body weight back a couple inches, just a little scooch back. So we're going to change that angle with the front knee and hip, and then go right back down. So we're just trying to work a slightly different angle of that right inner thigh. Hang out here, take a couple more deep breaths. All right. We'll come back up to hands, knee back upright, pointing to the sky. Sole of that front foot flat, and we'll heel toe it to what would be the outside edge of your mat, maybe just outside the outside edge. And then we'll fold forward, but as you fold forward or fold down, you're folding back and not forward. So you think about sinking the hips down and back towards the rear heel. In doing this, we're going for a deep stretch in that right glute. So keep drawing right hip back, left hip forward. Shoulders and hips squared towards the wall in front of you. And again, keep steadily lowering down and back. All right. Hands go down, right foot shimmies back to the inside, tucking that rear foot, pedaling it out a little bit, getting the blood flowing once again from all those joints that were bent. This time we'll step that left foot forward, short step, releasing the right knee down to the mat, releasing the top of the right foot. We again move the hands to the inside as that left knee reaches out to the left, maybe coming to the knife edge of that left foot. Again, listen to your body, whichever depth you want to take this pose. You can be supported by your yoga block or up on your hands. If you're feeling comfortable and want to go down onto forearms, that's okay, but don't feel it necessary to get the most out of this stretch. Sinking down into that left inner thigh. We'll once again make an adjustment, coming up to your hands, tucking those back toes, and just shifting our weight backwards just slightly, a couple inches, before we once again release those back toes to the ground, folding forward once again, hitting a different angle of that left inner groin. Lifting up, we'll transition to that glute stretch once again by pressing the hands down and shimming that left foot all the way to the edge of the mat and folding down but back. So hips draw back, left hip especially, right hip draws forward as we sink back really deep into that left glute. One more breath here before we transition out. Coming forward, weighting the hands once again, moving them forward, tucking your back toes in, lifting that right foot back, pressing into one more downward facing dog. From here, right leg will lift, coming forward and down, this time placing the knee close to that right wrist, back foot releasing. If this is too difficult for you, we'll give you a modification in a second. Otherwise, that front shin, that right shin squaring as close as it can to the front of the mat, lifting up, releasing the weight into the hips, and then coming down to hands, yoga block, forearms, again, whatever is easiest for you. For those of you who are a little bit tighter, here's an alternative for you. Lying on your back, we can simply take a figure 4, crossing ankle over knee. Try to release the best you can. Tendency in this pose is to tighten up the glute and the outside of that right leg, kind of the area we like to call IT band. But that whole TFL and everything there, our tendency is to carry a little bit of tension there, but just relax into it. We'll switch up our angle here. So lifting up, shifting the weight about 45 degrees over to the left, coming over that down foot, and again, sinking into whichever pose is comfortable for you. For those of you who are in figure 4, we have an adjustment as well for you. You can just simply press that leg across your body. So again, we'll rotate sides here, shifting the weight over the knee, 45 degrees out to the right. Again, if you were back in the figure 4, you're going to simply shift the pressure over to the outside of the leg and pull the leg across your body. Just a couple more breaths here. And pressing up, bring the hands in front. We'll tuck those back toes, transitioning once again. Pedaling out your down dog. Then step that left foot forward. Left knee next to left wrist, releasing the top of that back foot to the mat, squaring the hips towards the front of the room. And again, whatever variation you took on the last side, you can take on this side, just noticing some slight differences from one side to the other. You might be able to take this side a little bit deeper than the last. But if you took figure 4 the first time, again, perhaps taking it once again with your left leg. Left ankle crossed over, left knee pulling back for those of you on your back. Otherwise, settle into the pose, and once again, just releasing the tension in and around the hips and glute, folding forward. We'll once again adjust, taking a different angle here, walking the hands and torso over, folding forward about 45 degrees out, folding over that front foot. And adjusting over to your left. Once again, folding forward over that knee. Those of you on your back in figure 4, this is where you can take the leg and move it, instead of towards you, think about moving it across your body from left to right. All right, let's bring our weight back up once again. And this time we're going to just swing those legs around. For those of you who are in the full pigeon pose there, those of you on your back can just sit up. We're going to bring our feet straight out in front of us, legs straight, heels touching, toes pointed up towards the sky. Just a simple forward fold, holding as straight of a back as possible to begin with. So keep that back straight to begin with. Hands coming to the knees or shins, maybe using them as just a little bit of gentle leverage, still respecting your body. And then ultimately you can release the back, putting a curve to the back, just folding forward and relaxing. Releasing up. We'll bring a bend to knees, lowering all the way down onto your back. This time we're going to cross right leg over left, and it's knee over knee, so not ankle over knee, but knee stacked over knee, bringing the hands down to your knees, your shins, or perhaps even your feet. We'll then kick up with our feet and pull towards us. So we're looking for a really deep stretch here, kind of in our rotators. So not quite the glute, not quite your IT and TFL, but the muscles on the side of your glute, the glute med, glute min, and some of those rotators. So the more you kick up and the more you pull those legs towards you, the more you're going to feel this one. Experiment with it and see what the right place is for you. We'll then release the legs, lowering that left foot down onto the mat. Hips scooch up and over to the right as your legs fold over to the left. Typically in this pose and all yoga twists, we would encourage you to make sure to keep those shoulders firm onto the mat, proper alignment. Here I'm going to suggest perhaps you actually lift that right shoulder up off the ground, moving the arms into kind of a cactus or goalpost-like position with a bend in the elbow, bend in the shoulder, 90 degrees, getting a deep stretch not just into the spine, but also into that right pec. So opening the chest as you do this pose. Again, let your body be the guide. And if you need to, you can allow that right shoulder to lift off the ground a little bit to work a little bit deeper into your chest. And experiment with the angle of your arm as well. So by just changing the angle of the shoulder, maybe lowering it closer towards your feet or raising the arm up further towards the head, you can deepen that stretch. All right, coming back to center, we'll move the hips towards the center, this time crossing left leg over right. Again, knee over knee. We'll reach towards the knee, shin, or foot, whatever is accessible for you. Kicking up into the pose and pulling towards you. Once again, getting deep stretch into those rotators. One more breath before releasing that left foot down to the ground. Legs still crossed. We're going to scooch the hips over to the left as we allow our knees to roll over to the right. Arms once again coming up to a T or maybe even up into that goalpost position with a bend in both shoulders and elbows. Here we can allow the left shoulder to lift up off the ground a little bit if that helps deepen that chest opening in that left side. So again, let your body be the guide. Maybe even play around with the shoulder angle a little bit. Moving the arms a little bit lower, a little bit higher, settling into a space that feels good for you. See if you can deepen the stretch by simply breathing deeper into the belly, into the chest, feeling it deeper in the spine, and opening the chest. We'll release back to center, knees coming up, arms coming down. Uncrossing the legs. Perhaps just give them a little squeeze. Pull the knees in towards your chest, hugging your shins. Rock it front to back, side to side, whatever is easiest for you. Massaging out that spine and maybe even rocking all the way up to seated position. Scooching yourself over to the nearest wall. We're going to finish our second to last pose here, legs up the wall. So with your hips close to the wall, allows you to easily spin up, planting those heels on the wall behind you. We want your seat as close as possible to the wall here. From there, arms can reach out to the side. Again, you might deepen that chest opening by moving the arms all the way out to a T if you'd like. Otherwise, it's just hands at your side, palms up, just relaxing, letting the body undo the effects of gravity. And the last workout we had, letting that blood come out of the legs, back into the torso. You're just going to hang out here for a minute and relax. Good pose to come back to the night after some hard workouts, but for now we'll wrap up our practice, allowing those legs to lower down, back onto the ground. We'll come into Shavasana, final resting pose. Legs down onto the mat, everything relaxed, feet naturally splay open, palms up. Everything relaxed as you just melt into your mat and allow your practice to settle in. You can stay here as long as you want, whenever you're ready, with no rush. Pushing into a seated position. I'm Scott Beasley. You can find more information at soulsinspired.com or on Facebook or right here on YouTube.